which is a long time ago. But myself and my wonderful board, many of whom are sitting to the left of me, looked at these on Wednesday. There are copies of those minutes available at the front here if anyone wants to see them, because we thought we'd save trees and we've only printed 40 copies, but you're more than welcome to have a look at them. They tell you what happened last year. Can anyone agree the minutes from last year? Mr. Saini had his hand up first. Hey, it's going to turn into a bet, isn't it? Mr. Saini's in the lead now, is in the lead, yes? Sonny agrees the minutes were accurate for last year. I had to stand up and do the numbers, which I'm very interested in the numbers, but I don't really like talking about them. So what we're going to do is actually John has graced us with his presence today, which is very good. And Mr. Paddock, John Paddock, our financial advisor, will come up now, please, John, and talk us through the money for the financial year 2012-2013.
So what does TLS, what we're going to talk about is not the year up until now, but the year up until March 2013, which is almost, it's over a year ago. A bit funny that. But it was the first year we had where we started the Day Opportunities contract, where most of you enjoy the services provided by Ian and his team. It was also the first full year that we made use of the house at 25 Hathaway for transition. So young gentlemen and ladies that want to try and live independently, can learn new skills and be assessed. So we had some of that going on. In fact, some of the people, the graduates, are here today. Martin, Simon, you here? Yeah? No, wrong. That's Martin there. That's Simon up there. He's been through it. You can ask him what it was like. And of course, there's the personal assistance service. And lots of you have help from people from TLS. Who gets help from somebody in TLS? Who gets help? Yes, yeah, you do, yes. Many, that's you again, Simon, Martin, you had help from TLS, right? Yeah. Everybody here has had something to do, some help from TLS. And we took over the contract from the council. The councillor here in the form of Mr. Harris. Stand up, Mr. Harris. This nice man awarded us in a strictly competitive tender, well, nearly competitive tender, the contract to assist and run the Day Opportunity Service under Ian and his team. Okay? That's 45 staff suddenly transferred from the council over and the 4 locality bases. So who goes where? Who goes to Thurrock? 13. It's a lot more. We were a lot larger company. We only had 2 months worth of this new day services contract, but the whole of the business grew and we were much better at earning our living, earning our income. And you can see the sort of money we spend. Sorry, we get in terms of grants versus earned income. We're up to nearly 80% in terms of service income. There are lots of numbers on there, but those numbers are the same as I've used to do those charts. So those people that understand numbers, we were in size about a £500,000 turnover company. About £500,000. Nearly as much as Roger. £500,000. Right. It has assets, things that the company owns. So what does it own? It owns lands and buildings, 23, 25 Hathaway, and now it leases the Day Opportunity Centres. 2 in South Auckland now, not during these accounts though, and they're worth about £425,000. Vehicles, £12,585. We buy fixtures and fittings like doors and cupboards and cookers and fridges and things. And of course, something called debtors. People owe us money. And at that date, people owed us about £100,000. That's how much the company has to cope with in terms of getting money in. And that lady over there, for anybody who are really frightened, comes and gets our money for us, penny in the corner. And we had £280,000 in the bank. It's not all ours, of course, because we still owe money. We owe money, they're called liabilities. And we owed £262,000. So the difference between those figures are what the company's worth on paper. And that means TLS is worth £566,000 as of the date of this balance sheet, which was the 31st of March 2013. Previous year, we were only worth £489,000. So the company's got a bit bigger, a bit more successful, it's got a bit more money, it's worth,
etc. Lots of those businesses are bust now. they've gone bust. It doesn't work, yeah? For us, it's all about these guys and you guys and listening to what you're saying and driving the agenda, driving the things that we do based on what you've told us. Yeah? There are many organisations, and there's many of our friends in this room today, some of whom are potential rivals to us, but that's not a problem to us. And the successful ones in Thurrock are the ones that actually listen to the people and devise the service around them and then look for the money. Right? The people that go money first, oh, someone's funding, you know, left-handed people to work on Thursdays, let's start a group. It never works. Yeah? It's about doing the thing that's right. We're a social value company. We believe in social values. We don't like social injustice, and there's lots of that around for disabled people. So we will do all we can to support people to have rights and have choice and control, hence our website, Choice and Control. So building on what the directors were saying there, the reality is that we have now got a contract with the council, which is all very good. And I'm really pleased to say that that's up at something like, in fact, I checked the database yesterday, 158 individuals we support through the council contract. That's 2,531 hours a week that we do that for them. And then we've got lots and lots of people that we support in transition, yeah? That's young people leaving school, young people wanting to transition from there. And we work with both special schools now, which is fantastic for us. We now work with Treetops and Beacon Hill, which is really, really good news. So that gives us about another 83 people. So that our total number of customers, as we say in this service, is now actually 289. Now, if you look at the numbers of people in Thurrock that are known to adult social care, we probably think we're in contact with about 65% of everybody that's known to them, which is pretty good. And we actually deliver, contact-wise, about 3,500 hours a week of support, which I think is fantastic, and that's all to these guys behind me pushing me every day to do more, and to all the staff and the people that are working here. So give yourselves a round of applause. So what often is said to us is that, you know, so what do you actually do? Because the trouble is we have buildings, and you hear people talk about the buildings, and actually most of what we do is nothing to do with the buildings at all. It's actually about being with people and being out there in the community and doing stuff with people. It's about people, not buildings. However, we do have a lot of buildings. So recently, two of the commissioners from the council came and spent a day actually going around all the services. And Ian Liddell and I met with them at the end of the day, and some of the directors, and they sat down and they said, we had no idea that you do all this stuff. They suddenly realised it's about people, not place. And they started to get an idea. Whatever those gifts are, people here have got them and they can give. And TLS, in response to that, as a social enterprise, we've got gifts that we like to give. And we started to list them out for this year, to this year that we're currently in now. The list is almost too long, but one of the things, you may have heard it mentioned a few times, is the camper van. So we used our profits to buy a camper van so that people who want to go on holiday, and we've taken people away already, can go and have a trip in this camper van and go wherever they want. And we're really proud about that, so we've got a camper van. We had to get a new building in South Ockenden, because our other building was just too small with all the extra demand we were getting, it just wasn't working. So that cost about £25,000 we invested in that to get a decent accessible toilet. So there's a really good changing space now in the South Ockenden big shops, which is fantastic. We run an internship course, yeah, in the Adult Education College. You know, no cost to the local authority as such. We do this internship course, people do the training there, they have a fantastic time, there's a really good team there, and people from that get work experience and potentially get jobs. July the 16th is the next one. It's a really good night out, it's good value for money, and then on the back of that, people were saying, actually, we want to be DJs. See that man with his hand up there? Trust me, I have no idea how that equipment works, and I'm a musician, but he can DJ, right? So we trained people in being DJs, and they run the nightclub, which is fantastic, yeah? And Sonny's a DJ, he just reminds me behind there. It's DJ Sunshine, I think. Sometimes. Sunrise, sorry. DJ sometimes, that's actually a better expression, Sonny, but never mind. Right, so Liam's, yeah, which is a nightclub again there. We're just about to sign the payment. So the directors are quite right up there in saying, actually, one of the things we want to invest our profits in is borrowing more money so we can buy properties. So we just bought a one-bedroom flat. We already own 2 houses, but we've just bought a one-bedroom flat that one of our lucky customers is going to move into in the next few weeks, which is fantastic. We expanded the transition service into number 10 Hathaway Road, which has been fantastic, so we've got another house there. We do lots of stuff called Work for You, so we've got a handy man, it happens to be a guy called Phil, who's not here today, with a van that goes round and does lots of stuff in the community, supporting people to put extra locks on, cleaning their gardens, etc, etc. We've funded and supported a fire break course this year, where people train to be firemen for the year. We ran the Safer training, we did the Stay Safe stuff. We've gone into partnership with the CAF downstairs at the Thames side. Please come and use that CAF, but that's South Essex College and us in partnership. They run the CAF, it provides us with work placements. We also set up something called Books Without Words. So people that don't need to come anywhere near adult social care, we don't want them to have to do that. They can come and be part of a book club even though you can't read. Weird concept, but it's a fantastic thing that we do. And we've got people trained in that, and we're in progress with that with the libraries to do that. So it's all really good stuff. But then also a lot of talk in there about the self-advocacy groups. I think they're really, really important to me. Much to my shame. He was very gentle with me. Yeah, he left the room and had a good laugh with all his mates. And Roger knows I lived in Tottenham and was vaguely aware there was a football team there, but didn't know much about it years ago. So I don't do sport, I'm terrible. But Mr. Saney behind me was nagging, and some of our staff here, John Harris in particular, and lots of others, have really been very heavily involved. And we had a brilliant partnership with Adrian at the back then, being very shy, wave Adrian, in something called Shrug, and we got very heavily involved, and we now do so much sport, it's almost too much to list, but there's fantastic sporting events all over the borough. And one of the things I'm really proud of is if you go every other month, there's an event that happens in one of the local establishments for older people, where the older people and our guys, if you like, get together and just play sport. And it's fantastic, so tabletop cricket, all this sort of stuff, bowls and all those sort of things, which is fantastic, and exactly the sort of stuff that we should be involved in. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, we need to talk about the staff, don't we? Because what a fantastic thing. We inherited, as TLS, 45 council staff. Be honest with you, lots of people went, oh yeah, council staff. But actually, you're quite right, it's been absolutely brilliant. We haven't fallen out at all. All the feedback that we get, and probably people can bend my ear later if you want, is how much more freedom they've got working for TLS. You know, our sickness rates have plummeted, people are in work and enjoying work. And people are having a good time. When people have a good time, they support people really, really well. We've trained lots of people. One of the things we're really proud of, I don't know if you remember last year, I was telling you that we took on 6 apprentices, yeah? Well, they've all now finished their apprenticeship. 1 left to go and have a baby, myself, fair enough. And 5 stayed. And all 5 of those apprentices are just about to hear about passing their qualification, level 2 in social care, which is fantastic. But more than that, they were all interviewed and they were put through a pretty rigorous process, and they've all been given work. And I think that deserves a round of applause. People here really are equal value partners. So the self-advocacy groups are key. This thing called MAGs, which are our monitoring action groups, they're the way we design the future of the services. They take a long time. You heard Anne say they're taking time. We're also going to go through another whole round of personalisation, which is a bit of a jargon word. It actually means really getting to what the individual wants. What is it they'd like to do? How can we support them to do it? How are we going to help them achieve their goals? Everyone's got goals. The other thing we're going to concentrate on a little bit again next year. Do you remember last time we talked about the health action plans, the health checks? Yeah? And last year when I was standing in front of you, only 11% of people with a learning disability in Thurrock had an annual health check, and we were pretty upset about that. So how many people here know or think or know of someone that's had an annual health check? Put your hand up. Not that many. Might be lots of people have had them, they don't know. Yeah, Karen, get your hand up. Yeah, so quite a few people had. Really important to have your annual health check. You heard what Liam said on there. Now, we haven't had the official figures out yet, but I've heard a rumour that they're up towards 60%. Now, that is good, but it's still not good enough for us, and we still want to put the challenge out to health to say, we're here, we want to help, we might be able to fund some things, we want to get the GPs to understand what's going wrong, why people aren't having these checks, because we don't want people to get ill. It's really important. So one of our big priorities again for next year, this year coming, is to do the health action plans. And you heard Anne on there talking as well, because we work in partnership with Basildon Hospital. It's actually really good news, isn't it? The hospital's no longer in special measures. They're really trying to improve. And we have a really good relationship with someone called Gemma Sharples, who's the specialist nurse there for people with learning disabilities. But there is a problem in the hospital. 92% of the people with learning disabilities that are in the wards of that hospital came in through casualty. That can't be right, can it? That absolutely can't be right. So there's a massive disconnect between people not having annual health checks and knowing whether they're ill or not, ending up in casualty, ending up in hospital. So the guys here, and Gemma and lots of other people, have designed a hospital passport. And what we're saying now is you fill that in and you get your staff and people to support you to have a hospital passport, so you've got it ready if you should end up in hospital. It says lots of things about you to keep you safe and help you get well. So that's like one of our other priorities. Think about this in terms of TLS and equal value partners, right? People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that is Thurrock Lifestyle Solutions. It's about how we make people feel. Not about what we do, not about what we say, it's about how we make people feel. And a lot of the time, and a lot of the feedback we get, is that we make people feel good. And that's really important. If there's nothing else that we do, we want people to feel good and have the lifestyle of their choice. Thank you very much.